All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down the amazing tech that makes modern AI search and chatbots feel, well, so smart. It's almost like they can read your mind, right?
I mean, have you noticed this? You type some, messy, half-formed question into a search engine, and somehow it just gets you. It understands what you meant, not just what you typed. And that's not magic. It's a huge fundamental shift in how machines actually understand our language.
And this is a perfect way to see the difference. Look at the left. That's old school keyword search. It's just playing a word matching game. You type science, it finds the word science. Simple, but kind of dumb, right? It totally missed the point about accuracy. Now look at the right. That's semantic search. It's not just matching words. It's understanding the idea, the whole concept. It knew you were asking about scientific accuracy and found the perfect answer.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with moving past keywords, then dive into how AI actually gets the meaning. After that, we'll see how to keep it from just making stuff up. Then we'll pull it all together and wrap up with why this is such a massive deal. All right, first up, let's talk about this big shift away from simple word matching to a world where search actually understands the ideas behind our questions. And just to be clear, this is not some minor update. When Google first started using this stuff, they called it one of the biggest leaps forward in the history of search. I mean, think about that. That tells you everything you need to know. This is a total game changer, a whole new foundation for finding information. So the big question is, how? How in the world does a machine learn to understand meaning? Well, the secret sauce, if you will, is a really powerful idea called dense retrieval. And at the heart of it is this concept called an embedding. Now, don't let the name scare you. The simplest way to think about it is like this. Imagine a giant invisible map of every idea and concept. The AI gives every single piece of text, a word, a sentence, a whole document, its own unique GPS coordinate on that map. And the cool part? Things with similar meanings get placed right next to each other, like neighboring cities. Okay, so let's take a real example. The AI looks at a sentence like this. Right now, to us, it's just text, words on a screen. But to the AI, it's not just words. It turns that whole sentence into one of those GPS coordinates, a single tiny dot on that giant map of meaning. And it does this for millions, even billions of other concepts, placing every single one based on how it relates to everything else. And here's where it all clicks together for search. When you type in a question, your question also becomes a dot on the map. The AI's job is suddenly super simple. Just find the closest dots. Those nearby dots are your search results. It's kind of beautiful, right? We've stopped searching for words and started searching for neighbors. Okay, that's search sorted. But what happens when we want the AI to write an answer, not just find a link? Well, that brings up a whole other can of worms. How do we stop chatbots from just making things up?
Yeah, there's a term for this in the industry, model hallucinations. It's when an AI confidently spits out an answer that sounds totally right, but it's completely fabricated. And that's a massive, massive problem if we ever want to trust these systems.
So the solution is this really clever technique called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like an open book exam. Instead of asking the AI to remember something from its brain, which is like a gigantic, messy library, you tell it, nope, you're not allowed to guess. You have to find the answer in this specific book first.
So here's what that looks like. You ask a question, say, about how much money a movie made. Step 1, the system doesn't guess. It goes and retrieves the exact fact from a trusted source. Step 2, it then augments your original question, basically gluing that fact right into the prompt it's about to send to the AI. And finally, step 3, it tells the AI to generate an answer, but, and this is the key, it can only use the facts it was just handed. The result? An answer that's actually based on reality. It's grounded in facts.
So now we have two incredible tools, right? Semantic search to understand what you mean, and RAG to make sure the answers are factual. Let's put them together and see what a modern AI search system looks like. The really fancy systems add one more piece to the puzzle, something called a reranker. The best way to think of this is like a final quality control expert. After the initial search finds, say, the top 20 results, the reranker comes in, looks at just those 20, and puts them in the absolute perfect order of relevance. So here's the full assembly line. You ask something. Step 1, the initial search casts a wide net and pulls in a bunch of possibly good results. Step 2, the re-ranker comes in and acts like a fine-toothed comb, finding the absolute best result and putting it right at the top. And for the final step, the system can either just show you that perfectly sorted list, or if you need a specific answer, it can feed that top result into our RAG system to write you a perfectly accurate summary.
Okay, so we've gone through all the mechanics, but let's zoom out. Why does any of this matter? What does all this new technology actually let us do?
Well, there are a few huge takeaways here. First, we finally have search that gets our intent, not just our words. Second, we get chatbots that are actually trustworthy because they're based on facts. But maybe the biggest thing is the ability to chat with your data. And this isn't some cute feature. This is changing how businesses work. Think about it. A doctor can ask questions of thousands of medical journals at once. A company can have a conversation with all of its internal documents. It turns these mountains of static files into living, breathing knowledge you can talk to.
And that really leaves us with a pretty mind-blowing final thought. What we're talking about here is the power to have a conversation with all of human knowledge. So if we now have an AI that can read, understand, and reason with any document we hand it, what are the big world-changing problems we're finally going to be able to solve?